Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And this is a special Who Dat Nation edition of the State of the Saints podcast, where I answer a question from a member of the Who Dat Nation about the black and gold. So this question comes from Michael Winkle, and it says, what has become of our secondary and what do we have to do to fix it? Thank you very much, Michael, for your question. What has become of our secondary is very, very simple. They're not physical enough. They're not a very physical secondary, for the exception of C.J. Gardner-Johnson. That's the only guy that I see in the secondary that's willing to go up and try to, give remember me shots to some of these receivers and tight ends. The Saints have been having issues with their secondary as long as I can remember. The secondary has always been the Achilles heel of the New Orleans Saints. No matter who they put back there, guys seem to have the same old issues, bad technique, never turning their head around, not generating enough turnovers for my liking. What they need to do to fix it is they need to change the mentality of the defense in the secondary, man. It starts with tackling. You got a lot of guys that are more focused on trying to rip the ball out of a player's hand instead of just trying to take them down for the tackle. Now, I get it. Turnovers are important. Getting the ball back to your offense is important. But it's very important, too, that you know how to tackle. Too many guys going at people kneecaps. Too many guys trying to jump on somebody's back. The tackling technique in the secondary is just absolutely horrible. And I feel like that's something that needs to be fixed. Also, I think they have a few people in the secondary that need to go. P.J. Williams, he's an unrestricted free agent. I don't see the Saints signing him back. Patrick Robinson, I think he may have like 1 year on his contract. I don't see him, coming back. I feel like he'll probably be in a rotation. I don't see him as a starter. The Saints need to change the mentality of the secondary. They need to have guys out there that can tackle and guys that can get physical, man. I don't feel like they have enough physical guys in the secondary. These guys have to impose their will, and they have to have like a mentality of a Seattle Seahawks secondary back in the day. Not saying you got to be the Legion of Boom. I think those type of guys come around, once every decade or two. But you still can have yourself a quality secondary by going out there, being physical, more physical than a wide receiver. I just feel like sometimes they just, give up big plays. I was watching the NFL Combine yesterday, and I was looking at some of the plays, that they were showing when they were comparing some of those wide receivers to wide receivers in NFL. And it seemed like every clip that I saw was one of those receivers making a play on the Saints secondary. First, they focused on Brandon Cooks, and I'm watching, P.J. Williams get smoked. I'm watching Lattimore get smoked. Then they show some clips on Deebo Samuels, and I'm seeing, him catching the ball over the middle on the New Orleans Saints. That's pretty embarrassing, man, that they're continuously showing clips of your secondary to try to show what type of technique a wide receiver need to have. So this is something that needs to be addressed, and I think they're going to fix it, man. I think they're going to try to bring back Janoris Jenkins, and I think they're going to try to get another young cornerback probably later in the draft to go in that slot. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up getting a cornerback in the first round. If they find one that they feel like can be, fill that void and also be able to be more physical and to change the mentality of the secondary. But once again, thank you, Michael, for your question. And all those in the Who Dat Nation that have a question, you can always go to the State of the Saints podcast Facebook page, facebook.com, search State of the Saints podcast, and you can submit your question through inbox, or you can, leave me a comment. You can also email me at stateofthesaints@gmail.com. That's stateofthesaints@gmail.com. This has been a special edition of the Who Dat Nation edition of the State of the Saints podcast. I am TJ Jones, and like always, all I got to say is, who dat?